I haven't recorded anything like this in a while. So, let's just go ahead and let's just hop into this one. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on to another episode of the Career Recap. Where I basically go ahead and recap AFL careers. Now, today's episode was requested, and to that, it just shows we're going to be showing a drawn interest. So today we are going to be going ahead and pretty much recapping the career of SuperNBK, or okay, I'm just gonna go ahead. So yes, we're gonna be recapping the career of SuperNBK. This man, but he's now known as cactusjackyuub. He is basically a very, very good wide receiver that also isn't afraid to go ahead and pretty much show that he's a man to go ahead and fend for himself. As today we're going to be basically pretty much recapping his career and also going ahead and pretty much explain the biggest moment of his career, which is something I don't usually do, but we're doing it for today's episode. Now, I'm going to go ahead and basically just straight up say it. Make sure you guys go ahead and pretty much subscribe. Well, okay. Make sure y'all go ahead and pretty much subscribe. You guys already know. But I just want to go ahead and basically just show pretty much my excitement. And, well, yeah. I'm not going to pretty much do a bit of a recap, all at once, basically just going back every single moment of his career. I'm just going to I'm basically going to go ahead and for today's episode, kind of break it up to a bunch of separate areas. To basically just describe his career. If I can we're basically going to be taking a big depth, but although it be in different seasons, I want to go and basically go ahead and give my input about what I think is pretty much and what is pretty much at this rate best. So, without further ado, the first season that we gotta go ahead and review is season 8. Now, you during that time basically pretty much was a already very well-known wide receiver, and well, pretty much he basically was just very great at what he did. This man was a man you can basically just rely on. And it was just around this time, however, that pretty much, he was just starting to get to around his best area. So you guys are going to be asking, how so? Well, the situation the man goes down and he gets put into, well, it's very different from what you guys expected. And oh yeah, so here's a stat line from this one point. From season 8, he was on the Tennessee Titans, and this Titans team was a very good team. I mean, they had a somewhat talented roster, and well, yeah. But either way, he went ahead in 7 games, caught 17 passes for 392 yards and 4 touchdowns. Good enough to be like the wide receiver, pretty much 2 or 3 on the team. But you guys gonna be asking pretty much who was the wide receiver 1? Well, the situation he gets put into is the wide receiver 1 just so happened to be Mallory Rose, which I actually did do a career recap on, so you guys can go ahead and pretty much see in the section that's basically, well, up on the corner right, so the upper corner right, so yeah. Either way, the Titans went ahead and they went 7-3, and of course had that disappointing exit to Cole in the Browns. But despite that, the man basically was a very good, solid, he was just a very capable player in the league. It was just, the man was just very good. Just the problem was, well, okay, there wasn't really much of a problem. It was just really freaking good. Like, there was new, like, what do you expect when you're on a team that's, like, pretty dope as hell? Well, despite basically how that situation went out, Season 9, though, went ahead and got a bit promising for him. In my bit, I mean a lot. First, he went ahead and he joined Miserable Ozzy as a Steeler. And in that Steelers offense, he was basically the somewhat unquestioned wide receiver 1, as this was an offense at that time that had Osmond to a point. They also went ahead and they had, like, this was like basically, they had Henlo. They had like, overall it was just a good offense. That season, 45 catches, 1,083 yards, 16 touchdowns in 10 games. Good enough for 6th place in the receiving yards list. Steelers make the playoffs. They go all the way to the AFC Championship game, where they would ultimately fall short as they end up losing, is taking a narrow loss to the Dolphins and BSQT. Well, season 10 for him so far. Well, season 10 for him as far as I've been told. He's just shown basically promises of being elite. So basically, I had to basically look at the stats down there, and well, at one point this man was pretty much very well in the first place talk. I'm pretty sure he went ahead and he moved teams in midseason. So if he did, I said, I couldn't really basically just actually get a full look at his stats. Like, literally, it took so much time to just look at it. But, but, well, yeah. Well, basically, I'm just going to say, despite basically that surprise, basically the shit that he got, the shitty situations he got put through, he went ahead, was placed in a situation that the man can go ahead and possibly, well, win. And we look, he had basically a good stat line throughout this entire season. And he does so. And literally, he only played 4 games, unfortunately. And he didn't play a game like for 5 consecutive, but he probably will. But in the 4 games he has played, he recorded 22 catches for 512 yards and 11 touchdowns. His best game of the season, a 217-yard game on 7 catches and catching not 1, 2, or 3, but getting a double hat trick. And that I meant he scored 6 touchdowns. And literally just the schedule that he literally just played. Like, week 2, they were playing the freaking Ravens, and, well, yeah, they had it. They were able to look at this game and say, yep, that's the stat pad. And, yes, basically, with all that, you think that he was basically solid. So, of course, in true style, career recaps, we don't just review just 3 seasons. We want to, basically know this man's entire career is like. So I pretty much went back to the season 7 stats. And, well, this is what I found. In the season that basically pretty much had, let's just say, basically had Spade go ahead and go off for 1,000 yards receiving. Eddie have 1,000 yards receiving season himself. Tarv going off. And even the wide receiver of the year season from K-Stir that showed that just proved to be pretty much his only proven year to be a good wide receiver. That's where basically you want to know what's the situation you got put into. And that, well, here's what I had to basically learn. He ended up going ahead and he ended up playing for the Cardinals for 6 games, 16 catches for 398 yards and 8 touchdowns. Now, if you didn't know what the Cardinals in that season, they went ahead and they had a somewhat stellar offense, as it was basically led by pretty much the most improved player, Josiah. And he went ahead and he pretty much led. And basically, during that playoff run that they did have, as they finished the regular season 5-5, they surprisingly beat a Panthers team, quarterbacked by Kelvin 5. Yes, I'm saying this. They were QB'd by Kelvin 5. Like, literally. And that team was just mainly guys that were pretty much in OFL. Then he went ahead and he pretty much made it to Detroit and nearly beat the Lions, but the Lions all ended up winning on an overtime catch from J-Fish. That just showed Josiah that Josiah was looking to be an up and coming passer in the league. But remember, sometimes it's a career recap without getting the true facts. So, of course, you want to look at the true facts behind it and look like, okay, what did you do right? What did you do wrong? And well, yeah. And for the result wise, well, he pretty much had, like I said, he had a somewhat good season. So of course, it's to look back to season 6. Was he there during that season? That was a question that I wanted to go ahead and I wanted to find out. And if he wasn't, then season 7 was the start of his career. And, well, I went ahead and I pretty much dug into these facts. And the answer was he actually did play. He only had 6 catches for 210 yards with Reese and the 49ers. He did score 2 touchdowns though, so he basically went and he had pretty much a season. Somewhat. So of course, back more into the book we go, as you pretty much went into season 5. I mean, when you just look at it, SuperNBK, pretty much for his career, he basically pretty much represented and was on and first played up against somewhat good teams. Part of me wanted to ask, what was the team that the parents had to go up against? And, well, let's just see. So, of course, I went ahead and my parents went back and I looked. And I pretty much went and I looked as best as I can. And, well, after a look, I don't want to say it's safe to say this, but you can basically go ahead and just look around and pretty much see Well, this man basically started off his career having an interesting season. And that interesting season was, of course, well, I'm not really saying, but the recap from this, after looking, I couldn't find anything or any stuff like that. I had to go ahead and have to come down to a conclusion. And that conclusion is this. You got, first of all, SuperNBK is a very good player, somewhat decent, a man that you can put the ball in his hands and he can make magic happen. And basically, it took him a little bit, but he's slowly and surely starting to become a rise to basically one of the top receivers in the league. And plus, he also can have a habit of backing his shit up. And that, of course, is the next part of the video. So, let me just explain. Despite basically pretty much how talented basically SuperNBK was football-wise, there was basically one guy that went ahead and pretty much hated the living daylights out of this man. Like, he literally just hated him so hard. And that, of course, just so happened to be Gersol. And you guys should know about Gers well. This man is pretty much a respected dude. And well, yeah. But as much as we want to go ahead and talk about this one, talk about that tantrum and how that fiasco went on in this episode, as I wanted to, we're going to save that to part 2 with the podcast Dark Story, Gers versus SuperNBK. Thank you guys so much for going ahead and watching this video. I really appreciate the content, the love, the support. And, well, yeah. I'll see y'all in my next video. And also, keep up the good work on your career, SuperNBK. You already know, SuperNBK, cactusjackyuub. You already know. Either way, keep up the good work. Either way, we'll see y'all next time. Saddle up. Saddle out.